Hey, what's going on? Want to take a quick look at this fantasy lineup this week, Fanduel, DraftKings. Anytime I'm doing my lineup, I try to start at kicker and defense for the most part, just because to me, it seems like those are the biggest lottery picks. I really like Denver's defense this week against Chicago, Carolina's defense this week against Washington, despite the offense they did last week. I would like both those matchups, but I don't like paying for defense. Because outside of just the extreme, well, the Denver-Chicago should be a really good matchup, but it just feels like a lottery to me at their end kicker. So I try to scrape the bottom of the barrel and find me a little lottery ticket, and that's what I've done this week. I'm taking lines against Oakland. I'm a little afraid of Oakland's attack. Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree, Derek Carr, but it's a lottery ticket. I like the odds. Maybe Amir Abdullah breaks me one, gets a punt return, kick return. Just a big play from the defense. Maybe Oakland's offense struggles a little bit. Maybe Lions put up a scoring spree and force them to be one-dimensional and pass the ball. It's a lottery ticket, and that's what I'm taking. Same thing with kicker. Prater's 4,500. He's playing Oakland. I'm not afraid of Oakland's defense. Detroit should score some points, but their offense is inconsistent enough to maybe they'll stall out a couple times, get me some field goals. Prater's got a leg long enough to kick a 50-yarder. I always look for that. Somebody who can at least kick the 50-yarder so he gets the opportunity. He can do all that. I like the matchup. Kind of a lottery ticket, saving me a lot of cash. I'm taking it. Quarterback, I typically spin a little bit at quarterback, or I look for a running quarterback. Rushing like Cam Newton on rushing touchdowns, that's always a nice little gift you get. But Osweiler in charge of that Bronco defense at $6,000. I had to take it. I had to take a risk on that. I'm afraid of it to the extent I don't know that the Broncos will open the playbook up to him, because if they go out there and just decide to run the ball and try to keep it simple and don't let him really have the entirety of the playbook, then that's going to cost you on production. But they're playing Chicago. I'm not afraid of them. And I think Elway and the coaching staff there, Kubiak, probably want to get a look at Osweiler, see what they've got, especially with the contract years coming up, to really get just get an honest opinion of where he's at, what they want to do. So I think they let him go in there and play ball. And if so, I love the price. I mean, he looked good last week in his limited play. Give him a whole game against a weak defense with those weapons. I'm willing to take the bet, so I took him. And as a side piece, that's where Demaryius Thomas comes in. Under 8,000 for elite receiver, ability-wise. His numbers have been up and down because Broncos' passing game has been up and down. But Osweiler playing, wanting to prove something, I'm double down on the bet. I'm putting Thomas in there with him, and I'm bringing Osweiler in at quarterback. It's just the value seems great to me. Cobb, I was a little bit torn on this pick, one of the only ones. But Cobb or Decker, they're both in the same basic little price range. I think Decker's 100 more. That to me was a hard decision. Decker's outproducing him, but it seems like Cobb's ceiling's a lot higher. And on these FanDuel cards, man, that's what you need, And I think Decker's good for 15, but 15, they don't get you a lot of cash in these. You need those 20s, you need 30. You need somebody who can do big numbers, and that's Cobb to me. So I'm bringing Cobb in with Demaryius Thomas. I feel like I got two potential big playmakers, two, great offenses. So I'm going with that. And only $7,000, it seems like a pretty good price for a potential home run hitter. Watkins at 6,600 is a little bit of a sleeper. He's coming off a bad week, but New England's going to score points. Buffalo's going to have to throw the ball. He should get a lot of opportunities. I'm just hoping he bounces back and takes advantage of them. Great position to be in. I mean, he's looking at a high volume of targets this week probably. He's got the ability to take advantage of it. I don't play Watkins many weeks. I am playing him this week. Tight end, I like spending money here because it seems like it separates you a little bit. Greg Olson's always good value. He's getting a little bit higher now, but typically you can get him pretty cheap, for the position. Gronkowski's at the top at all time, but even him, I like to bring him in when I can, but it's hard unless you just have somebody in your pocket you're really willing to bet on. So I didn't pull the trigger on him this week. I got Reed. Washington's coming off a huge offensive game against the Saints. Carolina's been a little bit susceptible against the tight end, although you wouldn't know that last week with the Tennessee game, but still the same. Reed's done everything for Washington, 6 touchdown catches compared to I don't think anybody else on the team's got 2 catches this year, two receiving touchdown. But, so, I mean, everything's going through Reed and a matchup that should favor him. And so all that money you save up comes to, I poured it into running backs, Peterson and Freeman. I love having pass catching backs because you get rewarded for that. You know, you get half a point for a catch. So high target people in receiver and running back seem to be the way to go to me. Peterson and Freeman's both the focal points of their offense. You know, Julio Jones is going to do his thing, but Freeman's getting a lot of the work there. Peterson's getting, you know, a lot of the work there, if not all. So they both got good matchups. Green Bay and Colts aren't very stout defenses. The only fear you would have is both those offenses can score a lot, which, not that Atlanta can't, not that Minnesota hasn't been, but them getting a big lead, you abandon the running game. But once again, Peterson and Freeman both catch passes out of the backfield. So even in the worst case scenario where these teams would wake up, Packers or Colts would play as good as the Packers or Colts can play, I think you're still going to get your production out of Peterson and Freeman. So I'm a big fan of the card. Wanted to share it with y'all. If y'all want to bet on it, you know, awesome. If not, maybe you had questions about it. Maybe you were thinking about one of these players and you wanted somebody else's opinion on it. Nothing else, just a sounding board. So there you go, man. Everybody, good luck.